everyone, it's Monica. Welcome back to my channel. In my experience, one of the hardest academic subjects on the TOEFL exam for most of my students is literature. Since most of my students have never learned English literature in a classroom setting unless that's their major, these literature-related passages on the TOEFL exam is a lot harder. So today, I would like to teach you some basic terms that you will encounter on TOEFL's literature passages without getting into the technical terms or jargons for literature. First and foremost, literature refers to a collection of written work, especially when it comes to artistic writing. Elements of a piece of writing or story include title, the name of the story, author, the writer of the story, illustrator, the person who draws the pictures for the story, illustration, the pictures in a book, plot, the events that happen or the story, character, the main subject such as people in the story, protagonist, the main character of a story, antagonist, the primary opponent of the protagonist, the narrator, the character who tells you what is happening in the story, setting, when and where the story takes place, theme, the idea, topic, or message the story tries to convey. The main types of literature include poetry, prose, and drama. Poetry refers to poems as a form of literature. Poems are defined as writings arranged in separate lines that uses aesthetic qualities of language, such as rhythm and rhyme. Poetry can also be referred to as verse, which is writing that is arranged in short lines with regular rhythm. Prose refers to literature that is written in ordinary form as opposed to poetry. Drama is literature that is intended for performance, such as plays, musicals, and operas. Prose can further be divided into the following categories: novels, novellas, short stories, graphic novels, and non-fiction. A novel is a long printed story about imaginary characters and events. A novella is a short novel, and a short story is an invented story that is no longer than about 10,000 words. A graphic novel is a long story told with mostly pictures with some writing, also called comic books. And non-fiction is writing that is about real events and facts. Literature can also be categorized under fiction or non-fiction. Fiction is written about imaginary characters and events that are not based on real facts or people. These written stories or poems, or the act of writing them, can be referred to as creative writing. Then there is also a traditional story that's passed down from one group to another in history, including folk tales or folklores, fairy tales, legends, fables, and myths. A folk tale is a traditional story passed down orally. Folklores refer to traditional stories and culture of a group of people. Fairy tales are traditional stories that are written down, especially for children. A legend is an old story that people tell about a famous person or event. A fable is a short story that teaches a moral lesson. A myth is an ancient story that explains the early history of a people or a natural event. Nonfiction, as mentioned before, refers to essays, biographies, and autobiographies. An essay is a short piece of writing on a particular subject. A biography is a story of a person's life written by someone else, while an autobiography is a story of a person's life written by that person. As for common literary devices such as allegories or symbolisms, these focus more on literary content and are therefore less seen on the TOEFL exam. For now, just familiarize yourself with the basic literary terms that I've taught you in this video, and they should be able to get you started on literature-related passages on the TOEFL exam. Alright, that's it for today. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!